Okay. Yeah. Everything seems to be.
Okay.
Okay, so now you have to there, yeah.
Now you have to make me a code.
All right.
Okay. Okay. And so mute all.
Yeah.
I'll do that later.
And we are on YouTube.
Okay. Woo. Oh, I'll go on YouTube first. I wonder if putting the light up there, would that be good?
I think I just need to eliminate this. Let me see if that's good.
Move the little basket so it won't make us.
All right. The one area that's not getting it is here. It's gonna get hot.
Do you want a little fan?
No, I think I'm gonna have to turn that one off. But I'll do that in a second. It's one of the switches there, but I can do that.
Shall we try?
Yeah, Yep, switch. All right. So hang on, let's see, maybe that's all we'll need. So far it doesn't seem to, seems to be okay. Let's change this setting here. And we'll do,
Do you need another tray for those books that are behind you? Are you using those books?
I may, that's okay, that's okay. Thanks.
Is it this side or that side?
No, I think I got it. Thanks. All right, so why don't you look at my picture on your screen and see if I look okay? Am I illuminated okay? Are we getting the background okay?
Looks good. Why don't you go ahead and talk? Oh, there you go.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
I hear you from here. I don't know whether your screen is not. Oh, yeah, yes, it is.
Oh, it's starting
Go ahead and talk.
to flicker. All right, look, I'm not going to be able to do anything about that, so let's just, we'll just worry about it some other.
Ooh, Sam is on. Okay. You think that's Sam? Schultz?
No, I'm guessing it's Cavalli. What a
Well,
relief.
here we are on the Zoom on the. Oh no, that's the little one. Oh, unless. Oh no, this is.
Be on Zoom.
I know. But this is this one.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm getting it on my little computer.
Ah, okay.
So that's why I'm so relieved.
Yeah.
It's actually working. Did you lose your Zoom?
Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to put the air conditioner on a little bit more. And if you could just put the fan on, please. Good morning, everybody. I need my talus. Where's my talus? There it is. Good morning, good morning. Harvey, can you hear me okay? Okay, for now you can unmute yourself and hi Lou, welcome, good morning. Ah. Hi Sherry. Hi Stan.
Hi.
So our link seems to, I think our link is working, Stan.
Yeah, I just tuned it in on my iPad to see that it is.
Yep, so we're getting it on YouTube, hooray.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Hi Sherry, good morning.
Gotta go put on my kippah.
Okay. And there's Stan and Clara.
Rabbi, are you gonna do a talus putting on thing?
Tomorrow we will, not today.
Okay, but we're wearing a talus, aren't we?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Okay. What? Hi, everybody. Good morning. I'm gonna have to run out. Gotta go put on my kippah. Not gonna do a talus ceremony.
I see that the YouTube is about a minute or so delayed.
Yeah, I noticed that, but all that means is that they're hearing us late, but they're, and so if I, because I have YouTube going on in another computer over here, so I'm keeping track of both services.
Okay.
So isn't that amazing that we lost our YouTube yesterday because the company decided to retire the connection for all the congregations. Every congregation that used Restream lost their connection.
Why did they decide to do that?
They're moving to a different connection to YouTube, and so they retired that
Server?
Then they were going to wait until the end of September, but they just decided to do it yesterday. So Benji was telling me that Temple Aliyah used Restream as well, and 3 hours before services, he went on just to double check to make sure everything was okay, and it wasn't there.
Oh my gosh.
So
Oh,
he had
Were
3
they
hours.
able to get it back on time though?
See everybody, you click.
He was able to get it back on time.
There you go.
Well, it's amazing though that they wouldn't somehow
Hey,
notify
I don't know.
you.
I'll bet they heard about
Do
it.
they have?
Do you want it lower or is that too loud for you?
Yeah, Bonnie wants to sue them.
Yeah. After
Do they have your email address or some other way of contacting
The
you
other one around
other
the other
than
one?
through YouTube
Okay.
itself?
No, I want it loud. 'Cause I'm gonna-
They probably do. Yeah, I get emails from them. They probably should have told me. Yeah. I wonder how many people we lost last night because we didn't have it for them.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
Rabbi, I have a question. You
And you
said
made
there
a
were
loud noise.
75 people on.
Yes.
My screen said 48 participants. So how does
Yeah.
that work?
So that's how many screens, how many people,
They
but there
can't
were
see us.
multiple people in rooms.
So
So
they
Oh,
can't-
got
Bonnie was counting how many people per screen.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
There's
Yeah,
nothing
you're
here.
welcome.
That means they can't see you.
Oh,
We can
That's
hear you
exactly-
though.
but where's that thing Jeffy kept telling me was slide?
Jeffrey's and I don't do things the same way. My way was a lot easier. So
And how do we see Teresa? So I guess maybe she
Teresa's
doesn't want to be
just
seen.
watching. She's not really on.
So Francine's iPad, we can hear you.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. So
Hi.
which Francine is this?
The-
Francine Kobolnik.
Oh, hi, Fran. Hi,
Hoshana
Sam.
Tova.
Hi,
Hi,
Fran.
everybody. Hi.
Shana
Hoshana
Tova, it's
Tova.
Sherry.
Shana Tova.
Hoshana Tova. So happy to hear your voices. You have no idea. Wow.
It's,
Good to hear you, Fran.
But
yes,
I better
wonderful
watch
to
what
hear
I
you
say.
too, Fran.
Yes.
I muted it.
People forget that they haven't muted themselves sometimes.
It's all good. I know how to mute my mom. I've been doing it for 40 something years. It's okay.
She came walking over.
Sherry, are your kids there too?
No.
You know what? I walked over to help my mom and dad, and I'm going to walk home to do it with Robert and Elliot.
Okay.
Very nice.
My
Very nice.
kids can get it on Eric's from school.
Oh, okay, good. I want to show you. Okay, if you don't want to talk,
Mhm.
you hit mute.
So that's a nice light on my on the side of my face. Very professional.
Have you got your makeup on, Rabbi? Your stage
I
makeup?
do. I do. It's called a beard.
Ah. Last
So
night
it
was
will
last night was lovely, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. I was pleased, other than we had to start a few minutes late, which is the first time in history that our congregation started the service late, but for a good reason.
The only bad part is when you stand up, everybody just looks at your stomach.
I know, but I have my camera actually on a thing that goes up and down, so I bring it up to my face when I stand up. So it's only you only see my puppet momentarily.
No, but I said us, the rest of us. We all.
Oh, I
struggle
see
with our
your
stomachs.
puppets. That's true. That's true. Hello, Ayana.
Hi, good morning.
Morning,
Good morning.
Good
Ayana.
morning. Ayana, you sounded lovely last night.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
So just Ayana and I are here all by ourselves at the synagogue and
Yeah.
waiting for people to fill the seats.
When was that picture taken, Rabbi?
I think it was 2 years ago.
No, but the Cantors, this is.
Oh, so it was last high holidays.
Oh, okay. See, it was prophetic to take the picture.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So mine was last year and Ayana's is the year before.
Yeah, but that was kind of prophetic to take the picture. Who knew?
It shows you how
Right,
important
because
it
I see
is to take
the-
pictures.
I see the synagogue cover honoring the last cantor
Right.
in your photo.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
there.
So that was just from last year.
So we'll begin in 6 minutes. Hi, Owen. Yeah, you can unmute for now, and then we'll mute everybody at the beginning of services. Oh, you can't?
Don't see where.
Okay.
Hi,
Oh.
Clarence, Dan.
Okay, it's okay,
Hi.
Owen. Just we're getting the message. Hi, Becky.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Sheila.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good, good. Mom will be in the other room watching from the other room.
Wonderful. Good to see the Rosenbluths are back with us
Yes.
from
were here
outside of
last
San
night,
Luis
except not on
Obispo.
the tablet.
Well, it works now. It's a,
Zemanskis have joined us. Ed
Hey,
is
right
with us.
you know,
Wonderful to see Helga. Oh,
everyone
we've
who's
got
on meeting.
But if you're talking to me.
Okay.
Helga left the room.
Hi, Sheila.
You want speaker view? Or you want it
Yeah.
here for now?
What? Oh, I don't care.
Oi.
Okay. Not that, the one next to it.
Hi, Claire.
Hi.
Jerry.
Hi, Claire.
Oh, there it is.
Good morning, Stan and Phyllis.
Good morning. Ed.
Hi, Ed.
Everyone else.
Hi, Ed.
Hey, Ed.
Move closer, but you had the back of it toward me.
People know to look at gallery and see everybody?
I don't know.
Good thing for me to remind people, Sherry. Thank you. So we'll start in 4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay.
Say, did the governor tell us to wear masks even on Zoom?
The monitor off.
What did you say, Ed?
Governor tell us to wear masks even on Zoom. I'm not sure.
Oh, you're right. Hang on a second. I'm going to put my mask on. Hang on. Right, I got a really terrific mask here. Here we go. Okay, now we're ready to start.
Amazing how he could do that.
Let's take a vote. This one or this one?
Oh my goodness.
This is my N95. This is a much more expensive one than this one. We'll just go with this one.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
What are you looking? Well, we're, you see, as long as there isn't this little this symbol is not here, then our audio is
Sheila,
on.
Sheila looks a little pale.
That is muted, that's muted.
Lots. I don't want to blow my wad here.
Yeah.
Hi, Loomises.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning, Boker Tov, Shabbat Shalom,
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Hi, Lou, Paula.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
What would it say?
Yeah, I got us on. I got us on the tablet.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't think of that last night.
23.
I had the number here, and I didn't realize that was the number I needed.
Somehow I misread the schedule and I came in at 8:30 and nobody let me in. I guess, that was it.
We thought our services started an hour earlier. There's no arriving to shul early here.
We couldn't find a parking space. We had to walk.
Well, it's Shabbat.
I don't know what Larry is. Later Silverman is on twice.
The chat on YouTube. So if you wanted to go on YouTube, and you could just cut and paste the link.
You're on.
If you can figure that out.
Next
Right
to the
there.
rabbi.
Yeah.
Janet.
What? Hi, Sherry. I had a big clunk in front of words, so I couldn't see anything.
I love your top. It's so colorful.
Thank you. I thought I'd be a little bit.
Very Arizona.
Oh, thank you. I think.
Well, Janet,
My son lives in Flagstaff.
you
I
missed
know, I
last night we had a good night kiss before midnight.
Wait, who said what?
We had a good night kiss before
I had a
midnight.
big clunk in front of words, so I couldn't.
It was
see
4.6 at Whittier.
Thank you.
Earthquake.
Okay, my friends, I can see by.
I think.
So I am going to now mute everybody because it's 9:30 and we're going to begin our service. And so everybody is now going to be muted. So I apologize for interrupting any conversations, but we are going to begin our service now. I'm delighted to say that we are also on YouTube, and I believe that we're also on Facebook. And the problem that we had last night, which was the company retiring our link and every other congregation in the world using that particular company also lost their connections. Either there's some anti-Semitism going on here, or they just are not aware of the Jewish calendar and they jumped the gun on what was supposed to have happened at the end of September. So we are going to begin our service. In a moment, I'll introduce Ayana Haviv, who will begin the liturgy. I just wanted to mention a quick observation that we have more people at the beginning of services on the first day of Rosh Hashanah present than ever in the history of our congregation. Because any of you who are familiar with those people who come on the first day of Rosh Hashanah at 9 o'clock when services would begin. A lot of people figure, you know, service is going to go for 4 or 5 hours. Why should I get there at 9? So we would have our bare minimum minyan going in the old days. Today, we've got at least 40 people who are 40 people who are already here. So it's wonderful for me to welcome all of you. And we are going to begin our service in your prayer book, in your Machzor, the High Holiday Prayer Book. Please turn to page 106. And I introduce Ayana Haviv, sorry, our
That's
cantorial
okay.
soloist. Okay.
המלך היושב על כיסא רם ונישא שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נאווה תהילה בפי ישרים תתרומם ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתקדש ובקרב קדושים תתהלל ומחלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל ורינה ידבר שמך מלכנו יכול ועבדו שכן חובת כל יצורים על פניך לאדוני ולדתתנו השתבח שמך לעד על אלוקינו יפה הארץ כי נחלה אדוני ברוך אתה אדוני מלך קדוש
We continue on page 110 at the bottom of the page for Shabbat, page 110.
הכל ידוך והכל ישתבח והכל יאמרו אין קדוש כאדוני הכל ירמו מחוץ אל היצר והכל האל הפותח ככל ים דלתות השערים מצמח וכל לוקח עלינו רקיע מוציא חמה ממקומה ולבנה מאחרונה בשלמתה ומאיר לעולם כולו וליושבי ידו אנשים את הרחמים מאיר לארץ ולדברים עד ליד הרחמים ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים.
El Adon, page 112.
אל אדון על כל המעשים, ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גדלו וטובו מעלה עולם, דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו, המתגאה על חיות הקודש, ונעדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות ומישור לפני כיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני חודו, טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו, יצרם בדעת בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נאה זיוום בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים באימה רצון קונם, פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמור, צהלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קור על השמש ויזרח אור, ראה והתקין צורת הלבנה, שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש.
It is told that there are some communities where the people would arrive at services an hour early and they would just sit in a quiet sanctuary waiting for services to begin, and they would begin to prepare themselves. The transition from the outside world to the world of a sanctuary can sometimes be rushed, and it's very hard to adjust. And that's why they wanted the transition from their rushed pace to a moment of prayerfulness and a day of prayerfulness like today. They needed that transition. That's what these prayers are that we are doing now. These are the transitional prayers that are helping to establish our sanctuary, our Mikdash Ma'at, getting us in the mood. So when we read these prayers, regardless of our understanding of prayer or our sense of God responding to prayer, use these prayers to establish our mood for the rest of our service as we continue on the bottom of page 112.
I'm sorry, you said the page 112 still? Yes. לאל אשר שבת מכל מעשים, ביום השביעי יתהלה וישב על המרכוס כבודו, ויחדתה ליום המנוחה, ונקרא ליום השבת. זה שבח שלנו, ויום השביעי כשמר אומר, מזמור שנים אשר בטוב להודות לאדוני, לפיכך לפרזנו ותקרא אור שעשית יפה וכסלה, תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים, ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו יוצר משרתים, ואשר משרתיו כולם עומדים ברום עולם, ומשמיעים ביראה יחד בכל דברי אלוהים חיים ומלך עולם. כולם אוהבים, כולם ברורים, כולם גיבורים וכולם עושים בהמה, וביראה רצון כולם, וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה ובתארה בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומפוארים ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול, הגיבור והנורא הקדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונולנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרום בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה ובנעימה, כדרשה כולם כאחד, עונים ואומרים ביראה. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנשאים לעומת שרפים לעומתם, משבחים ואומרים לאל ברוך נעימות ייתנו, למלך מלכי חי וקיים זמירות יאמרו, ותשבחות ישמיעהו, כי הוא לבדו פועל גבורות, עושה חדשות, בעל מלחמות. זורע צדקות, מצמיח ישועות, בורא רפואות. נורא תהילת אדון הנפלאות, המחדש בטובו, המחדש בטובו, בכל יום תמיד. מעשה בראשית האמור לעושה אורים גדולים, כי לעולם חסדו. אור חדוש על ציון תאיר, אור חדוש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות, יוצר המאורות. אהבה רבה אהבתנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חמלה גדולה ויתרה חמלת עלינו. אבינו מלכנו בעבור אבותינו, שבטחו בך אבינו מלכנו. ותלם קדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו ותלמדנו. אבינו האב הרחמן, המרחם רחם עלינו. ותן בליבנו להבין ולהשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך. יחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך. והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך. ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך. ולא נבוש ולא נקלם ולא נכשל לעולם ועד. ולא ולא נקלם ולא נכשל לעולם ועד. כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך.
We gather our seat together.
וחביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל נשות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון. וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue quietly to the bottom of page 118.
אמת ויציב ונכון וקיים וישר ונאמן ואהוב וחביב ונחמד ונעים ונורא ואדיר ומתוקן ומקובל וטוב ויפה הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד. אמת אלוהי עולם מלכנו צור יעקב מגן אישנו לדור ודור, קיים ודבריו חיים קיימים עליהם לעולמים, לבותינו ואלוהים אלוהינו נתנו כתובות עבדיך. על הראשונים ועל האחרונים דבר טוב וקיים לעולם ועד. תמנה חוק ולא יעבור, אמת שאתה אלוהינו אלוהינו עצמנו עצמנו. משה ובני ישראל לך אנו שירה ושמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נעדר בקודש, נועד תהילות אוסף אלה. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
In a moment, we're going to be doing the Amidah, the standing devotional. And I want you to turn for a moment to the top of page 124. You will see that there are lots of options for us. We have The Hebrew, we also have on a different page, but you can see the listing of the pages at the top, the translation. But in addition, there are also reflections on the themes of the day in English. And so I encourage you to follow those pages that will work best for you. You can also stand or sit as you choose, and we shall now continue with Surah Yisrael. And as we do so, if you will be standing, we will do that together and continue quietly.
צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדחי נאמך, יהודה וישראל. גורלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We continue quietly. We may be seated upon completion.
We continue on page 132. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מסוד חכמים ונבונים, ומלמד דעת מבינים, אפתחה פי בתפילה ובתחנונים, לחלות ולכונן פני מלך מלכי המלכים ואדוני האדונים.
We continue on the bottom of page 134.
זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ מהחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה, רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אב הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. ואתה קדוש יושב תהילות ישראל.
We continue on the top of page 138, Adonai Melech.
אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We continue with a big jump because we are in the process now in the liturgy of having a repetition of the Amidah, known as the Chazarat Hashatz. When you don't have a minyan, you're not supposed to do the Kedusha. Words of Kodesh, like the Kaddish, and in this case the Kedusha, are reserved for when there is a quorum of 10. And so we are going to jump from here, and we're going to jump right past the Amidah repetition, and we're going to skip the Avinu Malkeinu because we're not allowed to do that on the Shabbat. We're going to skip the Kaddish Shalem, and we're going to make a leap to the Torah service. The problem with the Torah service is that we're also without a minyan not to have a public reading of the Torah. This is where we're going to be able to make our service more concise, because we are going to sing in our own fashion the prayers as if we are taking a Torah out of the ark. We don't have an ark, we don't have any Torahs here, but we are going to chant from a Chumash, and I will share some thoughts with you about what the purpose of the reading of the Torah is on this first day of Rosh Hashanah. So we are going to rise, since we're not going to take Torah out of the ark, I guess we don't really have to rise. We will, however, turn to page 160. So please turn to page 160 for the Torah service.
אין כמוך באלוהים אדוני, ואין כמעשיך, מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אהבה רחמים, היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך אל רם ונישא, אדון עולמים. ויהי בנשוא אהרון ויאמר משה, קומה אדוני, ויפוצו אויביך, וינוסו משנאיך מפניך. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו.
So normally we would have, of course, the taking of the Torah out and the circuit through the congregation. We're not going to be able to do that. Instead, we're going to, in a moment, have Bonnie chant the first section of the Torah portion. I want to point one thing out to you now, and then I'm going to, after she reads it, share some more thoughts with you. And that is this. If you were putting together the Torah reading for the first day of Rosh Hashanah, what would you choose? Of course, remember, it's the Briat HaOlam. This is the birthday of the world. The liturgy says, Hayom Harat Olam. This is when the universe was created. So you would think, well, let's read the story of creation. And we would immediately jump to the beginning chapters of Breshit, of the Genesis story. But we don't. Instead, we are going to be reading about children. We're going to be reading about Isaac, and if we read the Haftarah, we would read about Samuel. And maybe the rabbis who made this decision wanted to point out that it is important to remember how majestic is the universe, but it is equally, if not more important, to remember about the universe that is found in each child and the potential that each child has. And so we concentrate on the next generations. In this case, the second generation after Abraham. and we concentrate on our future generations, as Bonnie is now going to come and she is going to chant from what you will be able to follow in your prayer book, page 168, the reading for the first day of Rosh Hashanah.
Adonai pakad et Sarah ka'asher amar v'yas Adonai l'Sarah ka'asher diber v'tahar v'telet Sarah le'Avraham ben liskunav Lamoed Asher Diber Oto Elohim Vayikra Avraham Et Shem Beno Hanolad Lo Asher Yalda Lo Sarah Yitzchak Vayamal Avraham Et Yitzchak Beno Ben Shmonat Yamim Ka'asher Tzivaoto Elohim.
Thank you. Yasha Koach, Bonnie. So let's take a little look at what she just chanted. And I must say, it's a very distressing selection that was chosen. Because what we see here is, as we take a look at it, right, we should all be on page 168. So Isaac is now born. And at the bottom of the page, it says, Sarah saw the son whom Hagar, right, because Ishmael was born to Hagar. The Egyptian had born to Abraham playing. She said to Abraham, cast out that slave woman and her son, for the son of that slave shall not share in the inheritance with my son Isaac. So some rabbis suggest that maybe Sarah wanted her to be chased out because she looked so haughty being able to have a child. But in this particular episode, while she did say that earlier in the Torah, here she says, we need to make sure, husband Abraham, that it is going to be Isaac who is going to be the person to inherit the mantle of leadership of the Jewish community and not Ishmael. It needs to be my son, not somebody else's son, not a concubine's son. The law in those days, and we're looking at almost 4,000 years ago, the law in those days was that the firstborn inherited the mantle unless the father renounced that is actually being his child, in which case, if you sent the child away, he no longer was able to take on the inheritance of the leadership of the clan. And so by sending him away, you end up with Isaac, who is going to be the natural follower. So let's continue the story. The matter distressed Abraham greatly, for it concerned a son of his. But God said to Abraham, do not be distressed over the boy or your slave. Whatever Sarah tells you, do as she says, for it is through Isaac that offspring shall be continued for you. The rabbis say that for Abraham, this was one of the most difficult decisions that he had to make in his entire life. What happens when a loved one like your spouse asks us to do something, and we feel that it is a violation of our principles, it is a violation of all that we hold dear, and yet God says to Abraham, listen to her. You got to do what she says. And as it turns out, the future of the Jewish community was at stake. And and Abraham had to concede. So now let's take a look at the top of page 171, because now we have a fascinating episode. And we're going to see if we can find some high holiday lessons here as well. As for the son of the slave woman, I will make a nation of him too, for he is your seed. So Ishmael becomes the father of the Arab people. Early next morning, follow along here. This is fascinating. Early the next morning, Abraham took some bread and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He placed them on her shoulder together with the child and sent her away. And she wandered about in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water was gone from the skin, she left the child under one of the bushes and went and sat down at a distance, a bow shot away, for she thought, let me not look on as the child dies. There are those that would fault Hagar, that if your child is dying, do you put him on the ground and walk away so that you don't see him die? Or are you there for that child as the child goes through the throes of death? But apparently it was something that she could not endure. So she goes an area away and she sits there and bursts into tears. God heard the cry of the boy. Look at the text carefully here. Does it say anywhere here that the child cried? No, the mother cried. Says nothing here about the child whimpering, crying, doing anything. What is a high holiday lesson here? People shouldn't have to cry for us to hear their cry. God doesn't need to hear cries to know when people are crying out, according to the text. We need to be able to figure out what are the cues that people give us on their face, in their voice, when they do speak. That is a sense of crying out. We cannot be blind and we cannot be deaf to the feelings of people who cannot reflect on their face or in their voice their anguish. So the angel of God called out to Hagar from heaven and said, what troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, God has heeded the cry of the boy where he is. Come, lift up the boy and hold him by the hand, for I will make a great nation of him. So here's another lesson. Sometimes we need to hold people by the hand. We just need to give people the touch that we feel is going to help them through troubling times. We don't need to say things that we think are wise and consoling. Sometimes we just need to give that touch that will do the same thing, that will achieve it even in a grander and richer way. Now, here we come to the end of the lesson that I want to share with you. Then God opened her eyes and she saw a well of water. She went and filled the skin of water and let the boy drink. So the question is, did God create a miracle of a well so that Hagar would be able to drink and give her son Ishmael something to drink? And the answer is no, that's not what the text says. The text says that God opened her eyes and she saw the well. God was able to take something that was already there and make it evident to Hagar. What in our lives can we do in order to achieve the same thing? How can we open other people's eyes so they see what's already there? What can we introduce our family and our friends to, especially now that we're in the middle of this quarantine? If we are shut up in our homes, if we are shut-ins with only a few people to surround us, what can we share with other people that will add to the richness of their life? What books can we expose them to? What encouragement can we give that, hey, why don't we take an online course and we'll both draw together? What can we do in order to open each other's eyes so that we can see what we will sleep through with eyes shut? So these are some of the simple lessons of life that we can learn from our Torah portion. And tomorrow we will continue the story of Isaac as we're going to examine the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. I want to just tell you one more thing, and that is this. This is written by a woman, Phyllis Tribble, who is a Christian evangelical scholar of the Bible. And I want to read with you to you one paragraph that also brings into contemporary times what Hagar must have been going through. Hagar is the faithful maid exploited. She is the black woman used by the male and abused by the female of the ruling class. She is the surrogate mother dismissed when her baby is delivered. She is the resident alien without a green card and without any legal protection. She is the other woman. She is the divorced mother with child. She is the shopping bag lady. She is the welfare mother. And she is the self-effacing female whose own identity shrinks in the service to others. What is particularly interesting about what I just read to you is that she wrote that in the 1990s, and yet it's still so very relevant today. We are going to be continuing our service now. Please turn to page 196. And on page 196, we are going to sing the prayer for the state of Israel. But before we do that, I would like, especially in this day and age and time, to remind ourselves of our country and prayer that needs to be expressed on behalf of the United States of America. So let us quietly pray the prayer for our country. Page 196, 197. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Geulateinu. We're going to do a Misha Berach now for those who are not well. I will say the prayer, and then I will ask you to, in your home, say the names of the people who are not well that you want for this prayer to bring a sense of healing. Mishaberach Avotenu, V'yumotenu Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov, V'yumotenu Sarif G'Rachav Aleah, Hu Yivarach V'Yirabed HaCholim. May he who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal these who are sick. Please say the names. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishlach lahem b'mheira refuat hanefesh v'refuat haguf b'toshach Yisrael v'namar. Amen. May the All-Merciful restore these people to full health and to full vigor, along with all others who are stricken with illness, and let us say Amen.
Amen.
We are going to symbolically return the Torah to the Ark, and Ayana will lead us in the prayer that we sing whenever we are at the point of closing the doors to the Ark. Eitz Chaim Hi, page 210.
Eitz Chaim Hi, למחזיקים בה, ותומכיה מאושר. דרכיה, דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיה שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדש חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו
Ayana has an unenviable task. Her task is to try to conduct a service with nobody in front of her. Unless maybe you've got some family. Are they in the room, or are you all by yourself?
They're in the next room, but I'm afraid that they will make too much noise because they are children.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're in the next room.
So to be able to conduct a service in an isolation such as Ayana Haviv is in right now, but also to be able to reflect in the liturgy the prayerfulness of all of us, and to bring all of us in through the screen into her presence so that we all feel a sense of connectedness. This is the very, very difficult task of Ayana and of any cantor, whether in fact in isolation and quarantine and Zoom, or even within a sanctuary surrounded by people and still having to achieve that same result. There is a prayer that is in our liturgy that is reflecting exactly the problem that a cantor has in trying to create that sense within them of prayerfulness that will be the prayerfulness that is on behalf of a community and a congregation. And that is the Hineni. And I will ask Ayana Haviv now to chant the Hineni for us. We can follow along on page 236.
הנני העני ממעש, נרעש ונפחד מפחד, יושב תהילות ישראל. באתי לעמוד ולחנן לפניך על עמך ישראל, אשר שלחוני, אף על פי שארירי חדי והגון לכך, על כן אבקשך אלוהי אלוהי, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, ואלוהי יעקב. אדוני אדוני אל רחום וחנון, אלוהי ישראל, שדוי הנה מצליח דרכי, אשר אני הולך לעמוד ולבקש רחמים, ולבקש רחמים עליי
Yeshkoach. We now continue with the Amidah. The Amidah for Musaf, which is the section of the service that we are in, will begin with the same opportunities that we have for multiple avenues of prayer, both the Hebrew, the English translation, and the reflections. Please turn back to page 216. If you choose, we shall rise, and we continue quietly. We may be seated upon completion. The top of page 216. Please continue quietly as Ayana continues with the Chazarat HaShatz, the repetition on page 238.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ומביא גואל לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מסוד חכמים ונבונים ומלמד דעת מבינים אפתחה פי בתפילה ובתחנונים לחלות ולחנן פני מלך מלכי המלכים ואדוני האדונים זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים נכותבנו בספר החיים למענך אלוהים חיים מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיים מתים אתה רב להושיע מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים מרופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה מי כמוך אף הרחמים זוכר יצוריו לחיים ורחמים ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
Amen. So before Ayana Haviv chants the Unatana Tokaf, I wanted to share a thought with you. And the thought is partly prompted by my wife and I, who have become real fans of Big Brother. I don't know how many of you have been watching Big Brother. They're about halfway through their season. But what is intriguing is the thought, if you were being observed 24/7, how would your behavior change? Because that's what Big Brother is all about. So the question is, in life, if we were observed all the time, would our behavior change? It occurred to me that much of the mood of America has been affected by the opportunity people have to videotape and record much of what life occurs, that the security cameras that are everywhere, that phones and cameras attached to them that are everywhere, almost everything that's happened in the last couple of decades that has moved the needle forward in terms of systemic understanding of injustice has been because of videotapes and security tapes that have made themselves viral and public. And the question is, if somebody knew that they were being recorded, would any of their actions be different? That's why the police throughout the world now are going to be wearing cameras to see if their behavior will change. So far, I'm not getting a sense that people who know that they're being watched and they're being recorded, that their behavior is changing. When George Floyd died, the people who were on his body suffocating him knew that they were being recorded, and it made absolutely no difference. They continued to murder on the public stage. The reason I bring this to you is because that's what the next prayer is all about. If you look at the first paragraph on page 241, look in the middle of the page. In truth do you, God, judge and prosecute, discern motives and bear witness, record and seal, count and measure, remembering all that we have forgotten. The hope is that if we think that God is observing us for an ultimate reward or punishment, that our behavior would reflect that. I think that's the hope. But in reality, is it true? I want to put all of you to the challenge, and I do this every now and then in my life. Pretend that you're being watched. Pretend that somebody's recording you. Pretend that there's a film crew that's following you and recording your every deed. Pretend that you're on Big Brother and everything you do and say is being recorded, and see how that affects what you were about to do, what you were about to say, how you were about to act. Because this prayer tells us God is always observing. God is always watching. If we don't believe that God is observing and watching us, what can we substitute for that sense that we still have actions that count? If we're not being recorded by God or by a camera, are we being recorded by people in their memory? I've asked my students the following question. Do you think that your parents don't think you know something about them that you in fact know? And when I ask that question, almost every hand goes up, because almost everybody has overheard a conversation, has seen something on a desk, has been privy to information that they think their parents have concealed, and they in fact know it. So this prayer that Ayana Haviv is about to chant, in part reminds us what we do counts. We are being recorded somewhere, and if not, let's pretend we are and see how our behavior changes. Page 240.
ונתנה תוקף קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא ואיום, ובו תינשא מלכותך, וקיון בחסד כיסאך, ותשב עליו באמת. אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח ויודע ועד, וחוטא וחותם וסופר ומונה, ותזכור כל הנשכחות, ותפתח את ספר הזיכרונות, ומעליו יקרא וחותם יד כל אדם בו, ובשופר גדול ייתקע, וכל דממה דקה יישמע, ומלאכים יחפזון וחיל ורעדה יאחזון, ויאמרו הנה יום הדין, לפקוד על צבע מרום בדין, לפקוד על צבע מרום בדין, כי לא יזכו בעיניך בדין, וכל באי עולם יעברון לפניך, כי בני מערון. כבקרת רועה עדרו, מעביר צאנו, תחת שבטו, כן תעביר ותספור ותמנה ותפקוד נפש כל חי, ותחתוך קצבה לכל בריאה, ותחתוך קצבה לכל בריאה, ותכתוב את גזר דינם. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. כמה יעברון, כמה יעברון, וכמה יברהון, מי יחיה ומי ימות, מי בקיצור ומי לא בקיצור. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. מי באש ומי במים, מי בחרב ומי בחיה, מי ברד ומי בחצמה, מי ברש ומי במגפה, מי בחניקה ומי בסקילה. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. מי ינוח ומי ינוח, מי שקט ומי יתערב, מי שלם ומי יתייסר, מי עני ומי יעשר, מי שפל ומי ירום. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. ותשובה ותפילה וצדקה מעבירין את רוע הגזרה.
guess you all noticed that in the paragraph that was just chanted, it included the words, who by earthquake and who by plague. Right, you all saw that? You can see that one of the things that we're not doing today is we're not blowing the shofar. That's not because we don't have a quorum, and that's not because we are in quarantine. It's because the rabbi said we don't blow the shofar on the Shabbat. And the question is, why not? It's not because we're not allowed to play instruments on the Shabbat. In fact, the Levites in the Bible played lots of instruments, cymbals and drums and all sorts of manner of instruments on the Shabbat. The problem with the shofar, the rabbi said, was that what if the shofar blower accidentally left the shofar at home? And now it's Saturday morning and he's got the stage where he's supposed to blow the shofar, but oh my goodness, he left it at home and he's tempted to run home, get the shofar and walk it back to the shul on Shabbat, which would have been a violation of law of carrying publicly on the Shabbat. So the rabbi said, let's not put this poor guy in that position. We just won't blow the shofar on the Shabbat. But we do sing about the Shabbat. Please turn to page 254 as we join. Well, we're not going to join together, but please keep singing at home, even though we're not singing together. Yismachu.
ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת קוראי עונג שבת מקדשי שבי שבת כולם ישביעו ויתענגו מדודך שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת ועונג עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת חמדת לימים אותו קראת שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
What's the most important day of our lives? The next prayer tells us it's Hayom. It's today. Page 286.
היום, 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 היום תאמצנו, אמן. היום, 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 היום תברכנו, אמן. היום, 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 היום תגדלנו, אמן. היום, 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 היום תדרשנו לטובה, אמן. היום, היום תכתבנו לחיים טובים, אמן. היום, 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 היום תשמע שוועתנו, אמן. היום, היום תתמכנו, במין צדקך, במין צדקך, amen, amen.
We're going to pause in our service to give Jordan Pistol, our president, an opportunity to share with us some congregational announcements. Jordan, please unmute and share.
Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova. A special thank you to cantorial soloist Ayana Havi for her beautiful renditions of the liturgy, as well as the hard work of Rabbi Vorspan and Bonnie and Stan, our executive ritual vice president. Tomorrow, our contemporary service begins at 10 a.m. sharp. We will be blowing the shofar tomorrow, so if you have one and would like to be included, have it handy and be ready to unmute. Our next online virtual service after Rosh Hashanah will be our Shabbat service next Saturday, September 26th. All links used to access these high holy day services will be used next Shabbat as well, including Zoom, our now working YouTube, and Facebook. Immediately after services, we are invited to remain on Zoom as Rabbi Vorspan will keep it open for us to continue to schmooze with each other in an amazing way that doesn't block the exits and keeps people from getting out. Kol Nidre services will begin on Sunday, September 27th at 6:45 p.m. Remember, this is the only evening service where we wear a talit. Yom Kippur services will begin at 10 a.m. on Monday, September 28th. It is traditional not to wear leather shoes, but it is an even older tradition not to wear shoes, which in this year of virtual services becomes an option. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova.
Thank you, Jordan. And I'm delighted to tell you that with our YouTube link working, we have at least 45 people who have been viewing us on YouTube, as well as all of the people who have been viewing us on Zoom and also on Facebook. So to those people who are watching us on YouTube, I'm sorry about last night's problem. That was totally not our fault. And I'm glad that we are able to connect this way now. And we are going to continue our service with Ein Keloheinu, page 290.
אין כאלוהינו, אין כאדוננו, אין כמלכנו, אין כמושיענו, מי כאלוהינו, מי כאדוננו, מי כמלכנו, מי כמושיענו. נודה לאלוהינו, נודה לאדוננו, נודה למלכנו, נודה למושיענו. ברוך אלוהינו, ברוך אדוננו, ברוך מלכנו, ברוך מושיענו. אתה הוא אלוהינו, אתה הוא אדוננו, אתה הוא מלכנו, אתה הוא מושיענו. אתה הוא שהכתירו אבותינו לפניך את קטורת הסמים.
Rise for Aleinu, page 292.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשה כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו, אינון, אמת מלכנו, אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך. כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. However, if you are in mourning or observing yahrzeit, remain standing as we mourn the passing of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg of blessed memory. And we observe these yahrzeits of the coming week, Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Henrietta Schernor, Bernice Weinsweg, Abe Lewis, Esther Miller, Barbara Naomi Tober, Claire Cohen, Anna R. Gray, Bernard Rose, Max Aaron Washer, David Chana Mochenik, Golda Mochenik, Abe Lewis, Marie Leiner, Jack Blecker, David Lehrfeld, and Bessie Cohen. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. I'll ask everybody to please now unmute so that as a community, even with the cacophony of sounds that will emerge because of delay in transmission, it will still remind us of a community that comforts those who are bereaved. Page 294. I'll ask those of you who are not saying the Kaddish with me, please respond with the appropriate Amen and Yehei Shmei Rabbah. Yit Gadal V'Yit Gadash Shmei Rabbah. V'Alma Divrach Lutei V'Yamlich Malchutei. V'Chayei Chon U'Yomei Chon U'V'Chayei B'Chol Beit Yisrael Ha'agala U'Bizman Kariv Imeru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Li'olam U'Le'omeid Maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha le'ela le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'imiru. Amen. Hey shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imiru. Amen. Shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imiru. Amen. Please be seated. Before we chant our concluding hymn, I would like to lead you in the Kiddush. Preparation for when we get to our lunch. Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorot ha'merit olam. Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael lo tili olam. B'sheishet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. U'b'hayom ha'shavi Shabbat v'yinafash. V'yidaber Moshe moadei Adonai el b'nei Yisrael ha'kem berach Adonai et yom ha'shabbat v'yigatshehu savri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen.
Amen.
Please join together now as we sing. Although we're well, all right. Look, it's okay with me if you stay unmuted. Let's hear what this sounds like. We are going to sing together. Adon Olam, page 298.
Adon Olam asher bana, בטרם אתמול הזכיר נברא, נשא וחסרון, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, ואחרי ככלות לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה לתפארת אחד ואלה. להמשיל לו ולהכתירה ולראשית ולתחתית ולא העוז והמדבר והוא אלי וחיילי צורכת לי ורע והוא ניסי ומנוסי ונתוסי ביומנה ויעדו אפקידו את אישן ועבדך ואמרו לי בביאתי אדוני לי ולא
Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova. I'm going to leave Zoom open until we've had a chance to chat. And I wish all of you a wonderful, wonderful, new, healthy, insane year.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Beautiful service. Thank you
It
very
was
much.
wonderful. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Ayala.
Thank you, Cantor.
Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica, Rabbi, and Cantor, beautiful.
And Bonnie,
And Bonnie, you did great.
you are unbelievable. Not only are you the chief IT person, but you are the Balabusta of the world. You are the Rebbitzin of the world, and the Torah reader. What more could you ask for?
And we love you.
Thank you, Jen. Unfortunately, Bonnie can't unmute herself, or else we're going to end up with noise in this room.
What about Tashlik?
Well, when we used to be across the street from the park, we used to, as a congregation, go and do Tashlich together. But anytime tomorrow afternoon or anytime during the week, lots of organizations are arranging a distance Tashlich. Or you can figure out some other way to symbolically cast your sins upon the water.
Well, we have lots of ponds around here, and if they happen to just get a couple crumbs, that's their problem. And we wanted to know, where's the prayer for it?
There is, it's not in many prayer books, unfortunately. What I suggest you do is you go online and you Google Tashlich. You'll see lots of different prayers there.
Okay, thank you. We can do that. Whoops. We just lost the whole group.
Yeah, we did too.
We got balloons.
Somebody's screen sharing.
We have balloons. Balls.
Oh,
yeah.
There we are.
And it said whose screen we were sharing.
It's a good thing.
Yes, that it was a good thing, because at Passover Seder, we had a really bad one. Yeah.
Well, when you're screen sharing, it goes back to the thing, what do you do when people are watching?
Jordan, we have a question for you. What is your background?
Oh, the background I have been using was last night was Congregation Anshe Sfart in New Orleans,
Right.
which is where my grandfather was president about 75 years ago.
Right.
This is the USOJ in Balboa, Panama. It was a USO built in 1940 by the Jewish Welfare Board. And when I was lay leader, this is where we conducted our services. And it also served for the Jewish community in Balboa. In other words, the people who worked for the canal company. One of the interesting things in it is in 1960, when the Air Force personnel had set up a ham radio station in one of the upstairs rooms. And the rabbi, whose name was Nathan Whitkin, insisted that it could not be called a ham radio set, called it kosher radio.
That's funny.
And that's why from 1981 through 83, that's where I attended services. And that's fortunately somebody else led them, but I was the Jewish lay leader for all the military activities in Panama because there just aren't enough rabbi chaplains to go around.
Did you happen to know a rabbi there? I mean, not a rabbi, a doctor and his wife. I don't know his first name, but their last name is Hirsch and it's Miriam.
I'm afraid not.
Okay. Came back before.
The one person that I did meet, ran into in Panama when I was there, was the husband of a naval captain, and I didn't know her, but she had been in Shlomo Bachar's dance troupe, and I remember Shlomo Bachar teaching Israeli dance at my temple in Montebello. So it's a wonder who you're going to. Panama is one of those roads of the world. You never know who you're going to meet.
And now it's quiet.
Yes, it is.
Question. I see that you have the same background, Rabbi and Cantor. How come Rabbi has flowers and the Cantor does not?
There actually is another difference between the two. Yana, you want to point out what one of the other significant differences is?
I think they were taken a year apart. The rabbi's podium has the dedication to my predecessor, Zichrono Livracha, and mine doesn't. So I think mine was from an earlier year.
Right. So this is in memory of Cantor Goodman. So they're a year apart.
You were planning ahead.
It's nice to see fresh flowers, though.
Nice.
You feel like you're actually a temple.
We can leave, like, say goodbye. You speak to anybody?
It's not even lunchtime yet.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, now I have to go make lunch.
We took a 5-hour service and we did it in an hour and a half.
Say hi.
You can say
Yeah, I'm okay. Good.
Oh, look, there's Charlene.
Hi, everybody. I missed you all so much.
Hi, Charlene.
But I'm wishing everybody a happy, healthy, peaceful New Year.
Amen.
Same to you.
Good to see you, Charlene.
Same to you.
The same from the shoe hole to all of you.
There you go.
Hi. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with this thing. Okay. I am looking. What you do? But for everybody, just healthy, happy, peaceful, wonderful New Year.
Amen.
To you and your families. And I can't wait for us to all be back together again.
Amen.
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 Did you all feel the earthquake in the valley last night?
Sure.
Because I felt it in the city, of course. I did know the valley felt it too. I think God was telling us something. Again.
Yeah, which is surprising.
What time was it?
And my
11:30, 11:40.
11:38.
11:38.
11:38. Right, you got it.
That's one good reason that we're not still in California.
Right. Sorry. We can sleep a little better. Okay, Barbara, don't say it.
I'm the only one who felt it. Everybody was sleeping in my house, including the dog.
It was a 4.6, right?
The dog
was
on guard. The cat was up on all fours and like looking around like, what was that? What was that?
What a coincidence. That's what I was doing.
What were you doing?
Hi, everybody.
Earthquake, was everybody okay?
You can't speak.
Yes.
Okay.
Nothing fell off the shelves or anything.
No.
And everything of mine is on the floor and it can't fall further than that.
Hey.
What?
Hello. Hi, everybody. Nice
Jerry.
to see you.
Jerry.
Ellie and I were watching this on
Okay.
YouTube.
Looking at the
And
phone.
it was very interesting, and we thought we would join in to wish everybody a happy and safe holiday.
Nice.
New Year. Thank you, Jerry.
too.
How did it go on YouTube?
Very good. Nice big wide
Oh, it's
picture.
beautiful,
We
beautiful.
saw the rabbi and the cantor, and not a lot of people moving around, and it was really
We watched it on a big
on
TV
a
screen,
on
so
TV
it was
screen.
nice.
Nice. Oh, nice.
And
Yeah.
it was very interesting. And now we can join the party and be with everybody.
Very nice.
So we just wanted to come in and make sure that everybody knew that we weren't out sloughing around, that we were doing our job.
Excellent.
Okay, again, happy and healthy New Year to all, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you,
Amen.
Danielle.
Bye.
Hashanah Tova.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Sherry, as the rabbi said, you were being watched one way or another.
You're right. Oh, I was. God, tomorrow I better take a shave.
You can't, it's Yom Tov.
Right.
That's work.
And I shouldn't be drinking my coffee because you can all see me.
What's in the coffee?
Actually, it's tea this morning. It's tea this morning. Okay, bye everybody. We're gonna.
Bye, everybody.
Happy New Year to everyone. Happy and healthy New Year.
Yeah.
Be a good one.
Keep touching it.
Becky, Gary, Francis.
Here's somebody.
They made it to the screen finally.
Yeah, I have to tell you, I think it's just wonderful for us.
Kirschenbaums, I see that you have your mock stores that they got there on time.
No,
we have
haven't gotten them.
our own. We didn't receive them.
And as it turns out, I'll send those back to you when they get here, but thank you. But also it's just so nice to be back with our shul and our
family.
and to be actual, not just riding the coattails, but to be members. It's really, it's where we've always belonged and in our hearts. And thanks to Zoom, we can feel part of it. And we're just so thrilled.
Is there with us?
Back.
I echo your words. Yeah, it's so nice to be with family.
So even something good came out of the COVID-19.
That's right. I didn't want to say that because,
but-
because there's so much worse from COVID-19,
True.
but this was the shining light. That's for
There
sure.
is something for everyone.
What are we using for contemporary services tomorrow?
I'm going to be putting on the screen, I'm going to share the sheet that I normally would pass out. So you'll all be able to follow along that way, along with your prayer book.
Oh, okay.
Please don't pass out.
Pass out. Yeah. Very cute. Boy.
That'd be funny if I did, and then you're gonna be to blame.
Everybody said.
By all.
Rabbi, are you going to be able to Zoom once it resumes a full service? Because I really enjoyed this service.
I'll have to talk to with our board, but I think that if we can figure out a way when we're back at D Toledo, that we can continue to Zoom, we absolutely should do that.
Yes, I hope so.
That's good.
In a sense, it doesn't take much equipment.
Yeah, and it's free.
True. I like that.
I haven't put on makeup 2 days in a row since I can remember when. And now it'll be 3 tomorrow. Shocking.
Let
alone lipstick.
The question is how we can Zoom wine and cookies to people.
Yes.
Well, I think the Zoomers can take care of it themselves.
I'm still thinking of that poor freezer challah that has been in the dark for 6 months now.
No. It was
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. We're going to set up. See you all tomorrow.
Yes.
Good lunch.
Right there.
See you tomorrow.
Well, thank you once again. It was good. It's
Well,
better than
I'll
not
give
having,
you a
and
call.
it's as good as we can do. So thank you.
Barbara, enjoy those grandchildren.
Yes.
Well,
Barbara, I saw Aaron and the kids there at the beginning. That was fun.
They all had dinner here last night, and then Aaron's kids spent the night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he came back to retrieve them. I'm tired.
Are you back to just the two of you now?
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
the three of us.
Barney.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Right.
I thought we
But
said goodbye.
The house guests are gone.
Yes, the house guests are gone. They're in their house. They're happy. Marla had a little issue with work, but she got a new job and everything's wonderful.
Good. Good.
Yeah, stay that way. Okay.
We'll see you all tomorrow.
Yes.
See everybody tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
Good Shabbos.
Yashikoa again, David and Bonnie.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, well, hi, Linda and Harvey. How are you doing? Oh, she hasn't connected. Okay, well, it looks like most of us are off, so I think it's time for our lunch. See you all tomorrow. Enjoy your afternoon. Get a little schluffen in there as well, and Shana Tova.